AEW has officially announced their third show on the Turner Broadcasting family of networks, as they will begin to show Saturday Night Collision on TNT starting June 17th. There has been some specific talent announced for the show already, including Miro, Samoa Joe, Thunder Rosa, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Andrade El Idolo, along with some of the champions being shown on promotional material to signify most that we all assume that they'll be able to float between both Dynamite and Collision. Tony Khan announced the schedule on Dynamite this past week, saying, like I said, that the show will start from an unannounced location on June 17th, followed by 4 shows in Canada before they, as part of their Canadian tour, before they return stateside to the Prudential Center in New Jersey on July 22nd. That final show is currently a mystery. That first show, is currently a mystery as to where it is, as Tony announced that it will be announced next week on Dynamite. Now, there's maybe a little controversy there. We don't know, but we'll talk about in a bit. First, James, I want to get your thoughts and opinions on the announcement of the show, what this means for AEW as a whole, and what this means for, I guess, their wrestlers, their programming, and if you want to delve into what it means for Warner Brothers Discovery and Turner, you can go there as well.
Well, first and foremost, congratulations to AEW, congratulations to Tony Khan, congratulations to everybody, both in front of the camera and behind the scenes. At a minimum, this means AEW is growing. This means AEW is developing, and this means AEW has the faith and support of Turner Broadcasting. So this is a win no matter how you paint it. I'm very happy for AEW. I'm excited to see how this show is going to be treated, because admittedly, when Rampage started with a lot of hype as well. It started as being touted as an equal to Dynamite, that it was going to matter, it was going to be important, that it was going to have value. And for a long time it did. But it's also hard to maintain a show at 10 o'clock on Friday nights.
Time slot of death.
Time slot of death. And truth be told, if I'm going to be honest with you, I'm kind of nervous about this Saturday 8 to 10 time slot. Not a lot of people stay home on a Saturday night watching TV.
Can confirm.
Yeah, likewise. I don't know how often I will be watching this show live. Will I be DVRing it? Absolutely, sure. Will I always watch it live? Doubtful. So does this mean this is the type of show that not a lot of important things will happen, but it'll help progress the story? Maybe, but guess what? That's what Rampage already was. So I don't want to be pessimistic. I'm excited for it. I'm rooting for it. And I'm hoping that a lot of people that don't get a lot of TV time because Dynamite is it, are going to get more TV time. We'll see. As for other aspects of it, this notion, did you talk about a roster split?
I was going to get to that in a bit, but
go for it.
Well, I wanted to give my thoughts on that because I agree with you. I think that, and we will get more into the roster split, and all the news surrounding that, but reportedly there is going to be one, just so everybody doesn't have to go to both Dynamite and Collision, because would be, probably a lot of traveling, even if they're in, nearby locations. But I think you're right. Like, I think the hope here is because they have so much talent on this roster, and even between, just Dynamite and Rampage, there's 3 hours worth of television on for AEW. Like, they can only get so many people onto the show. So it makes it a little more difficult. And, not everybody's seeing Rampage. So maybe more of, a bigger show, hopefully in Collision, will allow some of the people that we don't always get to see on Dynamite, give them more exposure. I saw something else too. I think the House of Black has been promoted as, they are champions, but a lot of people are speculating that hopefully they're a mainstay on Collision and they're on every week, perhaps even defending the titles under these new house rules matches, which everyone seems to really enjoy the other week on Dynamite. So I think that could be really cool. I think I read that it's now between, you have Rampage is an hour, you have 2 hours of Dynamite, you have 2 hours of Collision, and then you have an hour of All Access. That's what I think. My math is really bad. 7 hours of AEW television on Turner Networks. So, they're doubling down on this. AEW does very strong numbers for them. I saw, Meltzer was, kind of clapping back to somebody on Twitter, as he does, saying that, they like very rarely reach the 1,000,000-person mark on Dynamite. And he was like, well, if you really think about it, with the loss of televisions in recent years, you only really need to get to like 700,000 and change for it to be the same percentage. And AEW clears that by a large margin every week on Dynamite. So these shows do good ratings for Turner, which is why they're continuing to expand the brand on their networks, and it makes a lot of sense. As for the time slot, yeah, you're right. That's a little rough, but you were going to say.
I would like to add, because I know that there was a lot of speculation and in turn some disappointment that there wasn't an announcement regarding a new deal between AEW and Turner. It's been speculated for weeks now that we were going to hear about a new multi-million, possibly billion-dollar deal, that it would include streaming, it would include more. And that was definitely an instance of the fans starting a rumor and then it exploding and it just snowballing and getting bigger and bigger. There was never an expectation, a genuine expectation, that today there would be a deal announced. That was never in the cards. That was never planned. So for those who are disappointed by that, that is an AEW, not an AEW. That is a fan problem, not an AEW problem.
Yeah, and just to source that, PWI was told by a source from Warner Brothers Discovery that there was never a plan to from either side to announce a new deal between AEW and Warner Brothers Discovery. So yeah, I was never really expecting that. I saw some people speculating it, but it wasn't something I was like, oh, there's going to be a new deal. The only thing I was kind of looking for, I guess, out of deals would be, maybe something on the new Max streaming platform, which
that would have been great.
Which I'm still going to call HBO Max, because fuck
you and me both.
But I think I did see AEW All Access is going to be on there, though. So, that might be opening the door a little bit to maybe getting, the backlog of shows onto there. Maybe even the pay-per-views, which would be really nice. But we'll see about that. Back to the time slot issue of it all, because you're right. Saturday 8 to 10 is rough. And it's not just because people are going out, but Saturday 8 to 10 is a big time slot for big time sports and other big time events like, the Grammys or the Oscars or stuff like that. At least I think they're usually on Saturdays, those award shows. I don't really watch them.
I think they're Sundays.
Oh yeah, maybe they're Sundays. Sometimes they're Saturdays, sometimes they're Sundays. I think it depends on the award show. But they're not really my cup of tea. No offense to anybody who enjoys them, but
it's okay. You've only personally offended me.
But even then, like, you have, your big Saturday night football games are starting around, 7, 8 o'clock. And that's going to be a problem when football comes back around. You usually have big NBA games on at 8, 8:30 on Saturdays. Like, usually you get the ABC games there for the NBA. And I mean, at a certain point in December, the NFL starts taking over the Saturday slot when the college football season ends. And, those are ratings monsters. Every NFL game is. So you're going to have a little bit more competition in a primetime slot on a Saturday. UFC fights, when those go on. So now the pay-per-views don't start to 10, but you got the prelims on ESPN for now. It's there's going to be a lot of competition for viewers. So it wouldn't surprise me if these views were less than Dynamite's. It's a little bit easier on Wednesdays, but
I feel like that's got to be a foregone conclusion, though. I don't know. If they're expecting Dynamite numbers, I think they're being unrealistic.
I don't think they are. I think you're going to see maybe in the 600,000 ranges. I'm completely guessing, but it seems to make sense to me. But if they're, top 5 in the demo every week, I think they would be thrilled.